26, James and the Giant Peach. After reviewing 26, I'll read 27. Reviewing is very important in learning English, listening and reading. And our memory is very short. So after reading, and then we'd better review as soon as possible. Listening, same. When we review the chapter or the story, we don't have to talk about the whole story, just what happened. For example, chapter 26, the centipede played on the giant fish, and then he fell down. And so under the sea, when the giant fish up, and then so the brave James uses strings and he jumped down and caught centipede, the silkworms, and made a silk to James. James to help centipede. Like this. Reviewing is short, and then reviewing is first time you don't have to speak fluently, and then just reviewing. This speaking is a habit. Okay, here you go. I'll read chapter 27. James Henry Trotter and his companions crouched close together on top of the beach. At night began closing in around them. Clouds like mountains towered high above their heads on all sides, mysterious, menacing, overwhelming. Gradually it grew darker and darker, and then a pale three-quarter moon came over the tops of the clouds and cast an eerie light of the whole scene. The giant peach swayed gently from side to side as it floated along, and the hundreds of silky white strings going upward from its stem were beautiful in the moonlight. So also was the great flock of seagulls overhead. There was not a sound anywhere. Traveling upon the beach was not in the least like traveling on an airplane. The airplane comes clattering and rolling through the sky, and whatever might be lurking secretly up there in great cloud mountains goes running for cover at its approach. That is why people who travel in airplane never see anything. But the beach, the beach was a so stealthy traveler, making no noise at all as it floated along. And several times during the long silent night light, high up over the middle of the ocean, the moonlight, James and his friends saw things that no one had ever seen before. Once, as they drifted silently past a massive white cloud, they saw on top of it a group of strange, tall, whispering-looking things that were about twice the height of the ordinary man. They were not easy to see at first because they were almost as white as the cloud itself. But as the beach sailed closer, it became obvious that these things were actually living creatures, tall, wispy, wraith-like, shadowy white creatures who looked as though they were made out of a mixture of cotton wool and candy floss and thin white hairs. "Ooh," the ladybug said. "I don't like this at all." "Shh," James whispered back. "Don't let them hear you." "They must be cloudmen." "Cloudmen?" they murmured, huddling closer together for comfort. Oh dear, I'm glad I'm blind and can't see them." The earthworm said. "Oh, I would probably scream. I hope they don't turn around and see us," Miss Spider stammered. "Do you think they would eat us?" the earthworm asked. They would eat you?" the centipede answered, grinning. "And they would cut you up like a salami and eat you in thin slices. The 4 earthworms began to quiver all over with fright. But what are they doing? The old green grasshopper whispered. I don't know, James answered softly. Let's watch and see. The cloud men were all standing in a group. They were doing something peculiar with their hands. First, they would reach out, all of them at once, and grab handfuls of cloud. Then they would roll these handfuls of cloud in their fingers until they turned into what looked like large white marbles. And then they would toss the marbles to one side and quickly grab more bits of cloud and start over again. It was all very silent and mysterious. The pile of marbles beside them kept growing larger and larger. Soon there was a truckload of them there at least. They must be absolutely mad, Sandfield said. There's nothing to be afraid of here. Be quiet, you pest. The earthworms whispered. We shall all be eaten if they see us. But the crowd men were much too busy with what they were doing to have noticed the great peach floating silently up behind them. Then the watchers on the beach saw one of the cloud men raising his long, wimpy arms above his head, and they heard him shouting, All right, boys, that's enough. Get the shovels. And all the other cloud men immediately let out a strange, high-pitched whoop of joy and started jumping up and down and waving their arms in the air. Then they picked up enormous shovels and rushed over the pile of marbles, began shoveling them as fast as they could over the side of the cloud into space. Down they go. They chanted as they worked. Down they go, hail and snow, freezing and sneezing and nose will blow. It's hailstones, whispered James excitedly. They've been making hailstones and now they are showering them down on the people in the world below. Hailstone? The centipede said. That's ridiculous. This is summertime. You don't have hailstone in summertime. They have to practice for the winter, James told him. I don't believe it, shouted the centipede, raising his voice. Shh, the others whispered, and James said softly, For heaven's sake, centipede, don't make so much noise. The centipede roared with laughter. Those imbeciles couldn't hear anything. He cried, They are deaf as doorknobs. Your watch. And before anyone could stop him, he had cupped his front feet to his mouth and was yelling at the cloud man as loud as could. Idiot, he yelled. Nincompoop. Hoopwits, blunderhead. Asked, What on earth do you think you are doing over there? The effect was immediate. The cloudmen jumped down as they had been stung by wasps, and when they saw the great golden peach floating past them not 50 yards away in the sky, they gave a yelp of surprise and dropped their shovels to the ground, and there they stood with the moonlight streaming down all over them, absolutely motionless, like a group of tall, white hairy statues, staring at the gigantic fruit as it went sailing by. The passengers on the beach, all except the centipede, sat frozen with terror, looking back at the cloud man and wondering what was going to happen next. Now you've done it, you loathsome pest, whispered the earthworm to the centipede. I'm not frightened of them, shouted the centipede, and to show everybody once again that he wasn't, he stood up to his full height and started dancing about and making insulting signs at the cloud man with all the 42 of his legs. This evidently infuriated the cloud man beyond belief. All at once, they spun around and grabbed great handfuls of hailstone and rushed to the edge of the cloud and started throwing them at the beach, shrieking with fury all the time. Look out, cried James. Quick, right out, right to play on the deck. It was lucky they didn't. A large hailstone can hurt you as much as a log or lump of lead if it was thrown hard enough. And my goodness, how those cloud men could throw. The hailstones came whizzing through the air like a bullet from a machine gun, and James could hear them smashing against the sides of the beach and burying themselves in the beach flesh with a horrible scratching noise. Plop, 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 plop. And a ping, 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 ping. As they bounced up the full ladybug's shell because she couldn't fly as flat as the others, and then crack. As one of them, its centipede is light on the nose and cracks again Donald